well. I mentioned on the stream on Saturday or on Sunday about if anybody has any questions for the builders here tonight, get them in the chat. We'll come to them. We'll get a chat with all the builders here, and then we'll come back and answer questions from the community. I'm hoping we get a good turnout and some real good questions. There is so much going on within the ecosystem at the minute. It's kind of hard to keep up, and two, it's an absolute nightmare trying to decide where to move your capital. So, we'll just do a quick round, maybe
that's
30.
a good problem to have, Ali.
Yeah, well, yeah. Is it? We'll do a quick round the room here. A quick 30-second introduction, and yeah, who you are, what your coin is, and then we'll after that we'll get stuck into some juicy conversation and questions. So yeah, Jake, Mr. Jake Sharpe, who the fuck are you?
Jake Sharpe. I've been in crypto since 2017. Started the Titan X project that everybody's building on now, including me. And that's pretty much. I need a better introductory thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm the creator of Titan X. It was a top 10 project on Ethereum for 3 months straight after launch. We're back in the top 30, which is a massive accomplishment. Usually projects, they go in the top 10 for a good 24 hours and then you never see them again. We've been there for months on end. I think that's a world record. So you could say world record coin founder. It's a cool world record. That's a good accomplishment to have. And then the thing I'm probably most proud of is the amount of builders that came to build on Titan X. Because they're solving a lot of problems in crypto. Like we got rid of the illegal ICOs, sacrifice, pre-sale, etc. We got rid of the shadow figures, the VCs. Everything that we build is purely community-based. Every coin that comes into existence via the community minting it. And I feel like we're restoring crypto back to its grassroots glory days. Nice. Here are some of the builders.
Yeah, nice one. Bad Sports, what about yourself? Who the hell are you?
Yeah, well, I'm Josh, Bad Sports. Had that name kicking around for a few years now, so generally people know who I am when we refer to Bad Sports. But yeah, I ended up in Jake's mastermind a long time ago. Sort of worked alongside all the guys in the mastermind, you know, when Titan X was a meme coin at one point. Or he was trying to throw us off, who knows. So yeah, we worked in the background on that. That was great. And then yeah, been there since day one, helping out in all the chats, all the telegrams, and then moved on to Blaze. Helped form the Blaze team, launched Blaze, launched Inferno, and then now working on Flux with some members of the Blaze team. And yeah, that's going well. And yeah, look forward to sharing more later on.
I know I was actually trying to go and find some of the old images that you shared at the very, very start, the very first, whenever Titan X was just a meme coin. Geez, it expanded and grew into something completely different. But I remember I've got them all saved somewhere, all those original images. Rudy Kazuti.
What up? I'm Rudy. I am pioneering hybrid NFTs on Titan X, which is it's been an awesome experience so far. I got into Titan X. Basically, I've told this story before, but it was like my anniversary with my wife. I woke up in the morning. I was like, oh my God, I found the crypto that's going to change our lives. And here we fucking are. I'm pretty deep in the trenches at this point. So just really grateful to be a part of this community. It's been really vibrant, and it's like the family vibes are real. That's what I'm getting from this. So I'm really excited to be here, and thank you for having me as usual.
That's one thing that's getting more and more. It's nearly becoming a narrative now, just with the weekly spaces, and all this stuff. Talk about builders working together, the communities working together, everybody trying to pull the same values together. It's something that's really starting to take shape within the ecosystem. So, dude, does everybody in real life call you dude as well?
No. Dude just came from like me really wanting to not be the star of the protocol. I've created Helios and also Giannis, and working on Element 280 right now. So you can call me a serial builder on Titan X. You can't stop me. But no, I really like the idea of just letting the code speak for itself. I want the token, the smart contracts. That's what people are here for, not my pretty face. So to try to take away from myself, I'm like, I don't want to, just as little as you know about me, the better. Honestly, like it's just because it takes away from the limelight of the protocols that I'm putting out there. That's a weird way to put it, but you know what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, of course. So yeah, they're building Helios, and then Janice is over on Pulse Chain. Yeah,
it is, and it's not quite like it's an LP web, so it doesn't have the bonded liquidity with Titan X specifically. It's got like 40 different LPs on it. Titan X and a lot of the ecosystem tokens are a part of it, but it's you can kind of look at it as a little bit of a side project. As opposed to what Element 280 is, that's going to be, I think it's going to be fire. Like it's really going to incorporate the entire ecosystem, and that's one of the things that really attracted me to Titan X from the beginning was like the tokenomics of it, how all of us builders can work together to attack that Titan X supply, and so like it's just. We all are it's win-win for everybody. I'm rooting for all of you guys, all the builders out there, and inviting anybody else to get on board with it. Like the more people we get, the easier it is for us to win as a team. So Element 280 is like it's going to incorporate all of the tokens in the ecosystem. Like I really want to just really bring it all together and showcase how awesome this ecosystem is.
Yeah, see the verses in the chat. They're saying that the dude is his spirit animal. So.
Yeah.
Okay. I never expected to see obviously so many projects getting built. Is there a danger, Jake, of too many projects being built, or does if something shit launches, does it just fade away? Is that good for the ecosystem? Bad for the ecosystem? Because we had the day 280 stuff. Everything performed exceptionally well. We're having a little bit of a cool off, not anything bad, but just a little bit of a cool off at the minute. And we're really seeing hype in the ecosystem, builders stepping up, and there's it's like there's so many things being mentioned. Even people are posting lists upon lists of projects being built. I even know of a couple of things being built that haven't even been mentioned yet. So what's your thoughts on that? Can there be too much? Or what do you think?
I like looking at everything from the frame of an L1. So I think that one of the simplest ways to try and explain Titan X, it's a fair launched an L1 within an L1. So when new projects launch on Ethereum, for example, nobody's mad that new projects are launching on Ethereum. If they're good, they'll stick around. If they're bad, they'll just kind of fade away. It doesn't really hurt Ethereum. So one of the interesting things I've seen in this ecosystem is usually what happens is an L1 starts to gain some popularity, and then a bunch of people just launch a bunch of JPEGs on it. JPEGs with a ticker, also called meme coins, put a little bit of liquidity in there, and then they trade, and that's the projects on the L1. Which I think meme coins are a psyop. I think meme coins in general are kind of horseshit. It's an insider game. It's based on cabals. If you don't have an edge, you basically exit liquidity from the shadow figures in the background. They're dead for 24, 48 hours, and then they disappear. The Titan X builder community, I feel like we have a very big focus on long-term protocols and sustainable protocols that we like calling them flywheels. It's like flywheels on top of flywheels on top of flywheels, and you only need one tick to kick off to start all the flywheels across the entire ecosystem. So I've seen build on Titan X becoming how would you name this? A very fertile ground for building unique tokenomic systems. Like a lot of the tokenomic systems that we've seen in this ecosystem, I've never seen anywhere else. So I think we have a unique combination of builders that just think about tokenomics and like how do you get as much value as possible back to the user, bolster the ecosystem. And then since everything is built on Titan X, let's say we have 20 projects, they're all doing their thing. And then you have a 21st project launches that ends up being like this absolute star of a project because it's paired with Titan X, because it burns Titan X. It gives extra utility to Titan X by default, because everything's liquidity bonded to it. It takes the 20 projects up with it. So even just one flywheel kicking off is enough to kickstart 20 others. So I don't think there can be too many projects. If it's a bad project, it will just kind of do its thing and then disappear like meme coins on our ones. But I think our community is built different, like legit when it comes to tokenomics. Yeah, I don't think there can be too many projects.
Yeah, I'll agree with that completely. Like even if it does a little pump and then fades away to nothing, like it's still pulled in a few Titan X and that are stuck in that LP or whatever, like they're locking up Titan X, even if it's just, you know, a couple of hundred, like that benefits us. And then it fades away and we move on, like Jake said. Yeah.
I got a very serious question for Jake. Is there going to be enough Titan X? I'm fucking concerned, man.
I know. I was actually thinking about that too.
Dude, it's like, what? Like, I mean, you'd be surprised with all these projects building and the buy and burns working and everything. Like, how fast we'll actually end up chewing through supply. You know, like that's a thing.
100%. I think what you usually see in these protocols have a bunch of supply. Titan X is unique in this case where the supply goes down. So market cap isn't really a big focus. Because you can have a 10 million market cap with X amount of coins, but then you burn 50% of the coins and it's only 5 million market cap. So it can go back to 10 million, but the price be 2x higher. So market cap is not really a measure here. But I liked having the trillions of coins because it gives you something to grow into. It goes from trillions to billions to millions. Because who likes having 0.1 Bitcoin? It makes you feel poor. You know, I like having billions and billions of something. It's kind of like, oh shit, this is early. You know, I can get a bunch of coins. So unit buys is a real thing. Over time, people are participating with billions now, but over time that will be hundreds of millions and then tens of millions and then millions as the project kind of grows and matures. So the unit of account will change. Like we're playing around with billions now. But in the future, it might just be 100 million and then 10 million and then 1 million. So I don't think that there's always going to be enough Titan X to go around. The total units will just morph and change because they have different dollar values. Yeah, I'm getting the same feeling.
Yeah, for real.
Like I'm like, okay, I need to be very specific with the shit I do.
whenever I get into crypto, I remember one of the, you know, obviously getting into hacks and stuff. I'm watching at the time, watching a Huddle Dog video, trying to learn what was going on, and seeing him just fucking creating all these staking ladders with hundreds of millions of hacks. And I was like, holy shit! Hopefully that can be us with our billions of Titan X, throwing them around.
So I think what you're saying is that we're early. Like I don't think I don't think I've ever felt so early to anything.
Sounds like early, especially if you were especially if you were early minded, you're basically the creator of the supply. Definitely. Like the supply that came into existence is your supply. So I've seen a lot of people just get rid of their supply, not understanding that the thing that you mine that is the bottom price. So people are letting go of like the entry of a lifetime potentially. And I like seeing it. I'm like, oh, sell it all. Even just the buy and burn alone can buy everybody's stack out. So yeah, obviously not financial advice. Everything could go to zero, etc., etc. But yeah, we're early. Like it's after the supply comes out in September, we enter hyper-deflationary mode. And then I posted a tweet because I started thinking about it. Is hyper-deflationary tokens are cool, but what if you have a hyper-deflationary token that's paired with a hyper-deflationary token? That's when things get really crazy. Because then you price a hyper-deflationary thing and a hyper-deflationary thing, which is going to be Titan X and, for example, Dragon X and Inferno, and kind of like the cap supply things. I think those could go nuts. Because I don't think I've ever seen a hyper-deflationary thing built on top of a hyper-deflationary thing.
There's some really, really crazy things that they build in there at the minute. Just seeing the way some of the hyper deflationary things will react with each other is going to be insane. And I don't think I've really seen that happen before. You know, having Titan X as the base currency, that, you know, with then, you know, being hyper deflationary, and then all these crazy projects getting built on top of it. And even just looking at, obviously we've got Inferno built, but now, you know, it's getting Flux built on top of it. It's kind of like, geez, you know, hyper deflation upon hyper deflation upon hyper deflation. Like, what the fuck's going to happen here?
Yeah, and this is what I mean with the tokenomics. Like, an ecosystem like this has never existed, so we're really on the frontier. Like, it could get crazy.
It's a degen's wet dream.
For real. I mean, when you go back to like the early days of DeFi, one of the big things that was thrown around was DeFi allows siloed off systems to work together because they act like money blocks. And I've never seen an ecosystem actually combine everything together and make it because yes, you can have something where people can build on top of, like for example, Lido with the Ethereum validator. But it's different than, okay, I put it in the code and hopefully people build on top of it, and having a culture of building. So like the build on Titan X culture is extremely, extremely unique. So we're taking DeFi back to what it's supposed to do. It's supposed to be money blocks that build on top of each other and they strengthen each other, instead of creating these silo systems where people have to sell one thing to get into the other, and then they cannibalize each other and they start attacking each other. We're taking DeFi back to its core, which is money blocks and protocols working together to create a very strong kind of financial foundation for an ecosystem to be built upon. And instead of creating our own L1 and hoping people bridge liquidity over and hoping we get volume and hoping and praying, the route that we're taking with Titan X is we're building the L1 within the L1. And then with X28, we'll go live with the L1 within all the L1s. We don't need to try and build our own little island. We go within the island and we build the best city in the island. It's a whole different kind of way of approaching it. I like looking at it like that.
Yeah, I mean, I always just hated that, whenever coin founders come out and they launch a coin, and then you've got to sell one to get into the next thing that they launch. I even put a little thing up on Twitter, a little poll up on Twitter, is with so many things launching on Titan X, do you pick, or do you just go into a little bit of everything? Personally, I don't go into everything. Sometimes that's been a bad move, but it's like, what's your opinion on that? Do you how do you pick? You're better off picking a couple of things, or just trying to get a little bit of action on everything. Anybody got any opinions on that?
I'll give everybody else a go.
My style is always, I'm not a maxi, I'm not all in on anything. But like with Titan X, I feel like within that ecosystem, yeah, I'm participating in not all of them. I think there's a point where you get too spread thin, but I'm not going all in on a single project. Like, to me, like, you pick your favorite 3 or 4, and I think that's a great strategy in my opinion.
Yeah, another thing is it is quite easy to make a little bit of profit on one, go back into Titan X, make another little play. Outside your core, I'd say the ones that you see in the ecosystem that are your core holdings, there's a lot of opportunity just in between the coins. What's your thoughts on that, Josh? Are you playing everything, or are you?
Yeah, no, I'm probably quite evenly spread, because everything moves together. So I kind of want to have a bit of coverage on everything there, and just supporting everyone as well, right? So anything that I'm staking, like Helios, Blaze, any rewards I'm getting back from there will be going into various protocols. So yeah, I just like to be a bit of everything and see what happens there. It's probably it could be reckless, but it's how I do it. It's my style. So
it's my style.
It's to be working at the minute.
A little bit of this, a little bit of that.
Yeah.
I mean, that's where you see the bonded liquidity shining. Like all of these projects on Titan X, it's if Titan X is pumping, you're not missing out on that pump. If you're in any of these projects, you're getting a piece of that pump. So it makes it easier for you to diversify within the ecosystem, knowing that you're not going to miss out on the base layer pump of Titan X.
Definitely. Yeah, I'm personally getting involved with protocols that I really resonate with. I'm not necessarily in everything. As much as I'd like a piece of everything, I think it's important to focus on the thing that you're working on, or the few protocols that you do like. I'm seeing a lot of stuff kind of pop up though, and I'm like, ooh, but that's the thing with crypto. You can see the shiny new thing and you want to go chase it. And I'm not saying that, any of these projects necessarily is going to wreck anybody right off the rip, but you do have to be careful. I do have a tendency to be a little bit more conservative at this point. I've learned from mistakes in the past. I think we've all done our fair share of degening, and like I said, I'm really looking at projects that I resonate with heavily. Yeah, so that's where I'm at.
Yeah, and then the way I like looking at it is everybody has a different personality type. Some people are kind of because I like bucketing people in certain characteristics. So one person likes to hold, just buy and hold, and just kind of forget about it. Another person is more attracted to quick arbitrage, like auction systems, where they have a 24-hour window. Maybe they can make it quick, 10-20%. People love that stuff. So there's arbitrage people that buy and hold people.
Just quickly on that, I think at this minute, okay, so I'm more of a guy that kind of likes to just buy stuff and hold it. I don't like to have too many things going on in my head. I don't cope well when I've got a lot of things going on. But there are some people, some smart motherfuckers in this ecosystem playing those arbitrage plays and absolutely cleaning up. There is little opportunities. If you're smart and you're on the ball in this ecosystem, there's a lot of that going on.
Yep, exactly. And different things speak to different people. There's like the Crash game being built on top of Titan X now with like Aviator X. There's a bunch of things in the ecosystem. For some people like the mining thing and the compounding the mining thing, which is a little bit less quick than arbitrage, but more certain because it generally has more liquidity as well. And it's more predictable because you can see the supply coming out. So it just depends on personality type. I'm somewhere I like compounding and I like buying and holding. Those are probably my two biggest things. And mining. I like mining. Because the way I look at mining is you're basically buying the future bottom potentially. There's no better entry than mining. So like that's why I love the launch of Titan X. I'm like, this is an absolute no-brainer. Like there's zero doubt in my mind that you can get wrecked on mining, which is why I felt so comfortable getting my friends and family in, because I'm like, this is the best price you'll ever get. You're buying the bottom in the future. You don't have to buy a local top or some top off in the future or like hope and pray you get a good entry. Mining is so pure where you give everybody a fair opportunity, and if they're willing to put time and money in, then they get the best opportunity. And obviously, if you go short, then you get a little bit worse opportunity, but then you can play, and you can do the compounding game like a little bit quicker. Like everybody has their own way of doing it. I've always been an extremely long-term dude.
See I remember it just popped into my head. I remember a conversation about a week on the mastermind, about a week before the mastermind, before the launch of Titan X. I remember you saying about the strategy that you were telling your father to do. So is he a happy man these days? Is he?
he's holding. He's holding. He did a couple short terms, and then he compounded them into long terms, and he's holding now.
Nice.
Because you got the best entry. Like, this is why it's so funny when I see people fumble on chain. Because you can give people the best meal, like the best variables you can possibly have in a meal, and they'll still find a way to like puke all over themselves and drop the meal on the floor. Some people just cannot be helped. It's like you have the ability to buy Bitcoin back when it was like 20 cents. And you can buy it below market because you're mining it at a profit. Like, why would you ever let that go? Unless you no longer believe in the ecosystem and everything's kind of like imploding on itself. If it's a good ecosystem and you believe, and you see the future, and you see the math and the data, why not cherish that like best entry you'll ever get? Yeah, but some people are just way more teaching, because then I look at the people that are selling and I'm like, okay, these are kind of like meme coin dudes. And then one fun thing I like doing is I like tracking. So I do a little note on like the whales that sold. There was one guy that sold, I think it was a free like 150 days into Titan X. He sold 300K. He went into another coin. That coin in 24 hours went down 70%. He turned his 300K into $90,000. And then he tried getting a re-entry into Titan X at a local top. That dropped another 40%. So he went from 300K to 50K in 2 weeks. And I'm like, good job, dude. You should have just listened. It's wild, the shit I see on chain. It's insane. Yeah, and that was just one dude. There's a bunch more examples of that.
What have we got? We've got a big comment from Mark with the hexagon there. If folks aren't sure on what to go all in, just grab the four or five main tokens in the Titan X ecosystem. Everything else are add-ons onto the core coins. So in time you win. It's a good, fair enough sentiment to have. We asked, I remember the last time I had you on the stream, Jake, I kind of said, where's your entry point into the ecosystem? And it was pretty simple at that time, just buy Titan X, buy some Titan X, learn what's going on, watch streams like we've got here. On that, hit the like and subscribe button there, people. And I never say that during the streams, and really missing out and doing ourselves a disservice by not telling people to do that. So hit the likes and share the stream out to your friends and your family if you're daring enough. But yeah, Titan X is a great entry point. Get your Titan X stack built up, and then from there you can learn the ecosystem. And again, it was talked about on the stream on Sunday that we're still very early. One of the community members came up towards the end of the spaces on Sunday and said, obviously looking at now, some of the coins have absolutely ripped off the bottom, multiple X's, but we are still fairly early here in the ecosystem, and you've got plenty of time to come in, cement a nice solid position of Titan X and decide where you want to go from there.
Yeah, absolutely. I see what you guys are talking about, and like that's where Element 280 is being designed on. Like it's the design concept came from like we need a Titan X easy button, and that's what I'm creating here, where you
right, okay.
a one
Have you
stop
given
shop.
out any details on it yet, or is this the first you're kind of talking about it?
Very little, very little.
Okay.
What I've shared so far is that it's bringing in liquid Titan X, and what it does for the community is it's going to buy and burn everybody, the entire ecosystem. So not just buying and burning Titan X, we're buying and burning Blaze and Helios, Dragon X, like all of them. So this is going to be, I think, something huge that like we can get support from the entire community, and it's designed to there's a checkbox you can buy in with ETH. That's one of the easy onboarding things that we've coded it on that. And all it does in the background is take that ETH and buy Titan X and then use that Titan X as normal. So like as a Titan X user, you just use your Titan X. But if you're a new user, you're trying to get into the ecosystem, you're bringing ETH, you just check that box and then it's a one click entry. I'm so excited. White paper's coming out like in about a week or so. And then we can like really go into details on what it is, but exactly that sentiment, like all these projects coming out, I'm like, people are going to get overwhelmed. So like that's really the solution that I'm looking for to that problem, and I think it's really going to do well.
Well, maybe come back. I don't know if we should go deep diving into things too much on the stream here, but it's interesting that you brought it up there. I mean, I'm starting to hear it get mentioned, but that's a nice, it's a nice way to look at something. The easy button to get into the ecosystem sounds pretty appealing, especially to new users. Just another thing, another way that another builder is just attacking the problems within the ecosystem, or not problems, challenges within the ecosystem. Okay. Hydra has been getting mentioned just while we're kind of mentioning the projects that we're building. We'll just do a quick kind of, Hydra's been getting mentioned. What I think I've seen middle of September, I've seen end of September. Is there a time frame from it? Have you any hints of what it is? I've seen a few. I've seen a few things getting mentioned in different chat rooms. Have you anything to kind of drop to the community at the minute about what?
Yep. So Hydra is going to be a hyper-style protocol built on top of Dragon X. So for people that don't know how Hyper works, essentially people can start miners with Ethereum. The Ethereum buys Titan X. So it's essentially the same as the user buying it. So this is important to mention, because sometimes you see people on Titan X selling to get Ethereum to go into Hyper, but all that Ethereum ends up buying Titan X again, and it's actually better than having an extra holder because it burns 20% of the Titan X that it buys. So the Ethereum buys Titan X, burns 20% of it, the other 80% goes towards Hyper, buys it, and then splits 20% to the Hyper payouts, and 80% gets burned. It's going to be very similar to that for Dragon X. So people are going to be able to enter Hydra with liquid Titan X. It's not going to be Ethereum. So with liquid Titan X, the Titan X is 20% is going into the Dragon X vault to increase its staking position in the ecosystem, which then in turn buys Titan X off the market with 89% of the Ethereum. 89% roughly. Buys Titan X off the market, half of that goes into the Dragon X vault, which stakes it, increases its own staking position, and the other 50% of that buys Dragon X and burns it. So it's strengthening the flywheel. The pair is going to be Titan X, Dragon X, Hydra. So what the Titan X will do is it will take liquid Titan X, it will buy 20% Dragon X vault, 80% will buy Dragon X off market, burn 20% of the Dragon X that it buys, so making it hyper deflationary outside of the staking payouts, and then taking that Dragon X, buying Hydra, and burning 100% of it. So Hydra will not have staking, so no staking like Hyper. And it's basically going to be a compounding protocol built on top of a hyperdeflationary asset. And so the way to look at Dragon X is kind of like a lever, meaning that all the buy pressure that comes in ends up being way more because people don't want to sell a hyperdeflationary thing. So it holds the price way more. And then whatever price performance Dragon X gets, Hydra will get, which increases the mining ROI because everything's priced in Titan X. So as Dragon X outperforms Titan X, it increases the mining ROI, gets more people in. And while it does that, it's strengthening the ecosystem in the process, feeding Dragon X vault, burning Dragon X, And the 20% of Titan X that goes to the Dragon X vault is essentially burned Titan X. Because what the Dragon X vault does, it takes the Titan X, it max takes it 3,500 days. And then after 3,500 days, when it comes out, the only thing the Titan X can do, there's no withdraw functions, is it restakes it for another 3,500 days. So the 20% of liquid Titan X essentially gets burned. Yeah, and then there's some other stuff, but it's very similar to Hyper, just optimized for Hyper deflationary asset in the middle, feeding the Dragon X vault, and using liquid Titan X.
I need to make Dean diagram to take all that in.
No, just the key element. Is there a vortex? Will there be Titan X and Dragon X stored? Okay. Yeah.
Yep. There's also a vortex.
And
the vortex is sick. I love the vortex. That was a brilliant idea.
Yeah.
Everybody was kind of confused on with hyper vortex until it finally triggered, and we're like, oh, I see now. So I think a lot of people will be looking forward to a vortex on Dragon X as well.
Is that project? Are you building that, or is that you and Eric building that, or is it Eric building it?
I'm building it, and then I'm building it, releasing it, and then Eric is probably going to build a second UI as well on top of the smart contract. So it's going to use my UI first, but then they'll put it in the Dragon X branding, very likely.
That's crazy. Is the white paper coming soon, or you can kind of give a real good overview there? I'm sure there'll be a few people will be watching that part of the stream over and over again, trying to get their head around what's going on, trying to get themselves a little bit of a head start. But is there a white paper coming soon, or?
Yeah, probably before launch. Yeah. As soon as it'll probably launch in September.
Okay, sweet.
Yep.
Bad Sports, Josh. What about you? What's the thing you're working on at the minute?
Sorry, I was muted. Flux. That's the next protocol that I'm working on with Scotty Blaze and Irish Crypto. Three of us from Blaze, and I did a live stream with Mike Dean last week on Friday, and a live stream with the merge. That was a nice casual run through of the flow chart, but we're gonna jump back on and get a bit more into it later on this week. But essentially, Flux is auction system based protocol, but like Blaze uses ETH, we're using Liquid Titan X to participate. I think one of the key differences is that we've built in a process that every auction transaction that is made, there's an instant buy pressure which takes 50% of the Titan X away and auto buys and then max stakes the Flux tokens. So what's quite interesting with that is it adds a percentage of instant buy pressure to the token, but throughout that 24-hour period, with a specific ratio to how many Flux tokens are available from that auction. And so with that auto buy and stake, you've also got the fact that we've got the reward payout pools. So whatever Titan X is allocated to those pools, it's sending that Titan X out into the future. So what's quite nice is we've got a 777 reward pool. So any Titan X that's allocated to that pool is pushed out.
777 in the chat.
Yeah, that's it. Taking it back. So that's pushed out over 2 years into the future. So not only we're using the Titan X to go into Dragon X Vault and the Helios Treasury, which I think both of those items could have a bit more. I think there could be a bit more education around how beneficial they are to the system. So I'm going to try and dig into both of them a bit more and try and put some stuff out for the community, because they're really beneficial once you get your head around it. And so we send Titan X to both of those. So the Titan X allocated to both of those areas, different protocols. And then you've got the Titan X getting pushed out 777 days. And then we have the buy and bet. We've got like a huge buy and burn on Flux. So yeah, it's there's a lot going on. There's a lot to unpack on there. I think Mike Dean did a really, really good job with his diagrams, which he's kindly given to me this week. So I'm going to sort of just work on them and make them look nice and pretty and get them out there. We've got We've got some. I don't know if you saw the. I think you mentioned it. Hoddle Doggy did the old Hexplainer videos back in the day. So we're working on a few of them for the different parts of the Flux protocol. So we're going to start getting them out over the next week or so as well, just to try and educate everyone and make people see actually how simple the protocol is, even though there's a lot of moving parts. It sounds complex, but actually when you come to the UI, it's going to be really smooth, big green buttons to press, and everything else.
Yeah. I know. I suppose it's even like even Titan X, whenever it first launched, it did sound quite complicated, but when you see the UI, everything is just so simple. A lot of these things, when you read the white paper, or when you're trying to talk through all the little moving parts, they can seem more complicated than they are whenever they get launched out into the real world. The big green buttons are back, baby. Yeah. Rudy, what are you working on at the minute?
Yeah, so right now we're just prepping up to launch the Legend X token, which is paired with our hybrid NFT. So basically what you'll be able to do is swap your NFT for tokens and vice versa. Somebody can come in, purchase the tokens off the market and actually buy any NFT that they want out of our Battlefield, which is a two-way escrow or swap contract, which allows you to swap that NFT for tokens in either which way. So basically, on every transaction with the Battlefields, it's burning 3%, which is really cool. And we also have our native marketplace, and we're going to be working with some other projects and listing them coming up soon. Wink. So they'll actually be helping to feed a buy and burn for the Legend X token as well. So it's really like what's going to end up happening is that the Legend X token is deflationary. And as people lock their NFTs into the Battlefield, the NFTs become deflationary as well. And when we get to a certain point, when we burn over 20% of the supply, some of those NFTs will actually remain in the Battlefield indefinitely. So it's just kind of like this deflationary protocol with NFTs. And what I like to look at it as is like a good onboarding tool, right? That was like NFTs are a part of DeFi. Like people might like them, people might not like them, but they can be done differently. And like traditionally in NFTs, like you're just waiting for the next guy to buy them. Well, now we have a liquid solution here. So I'd like to see this become the new standard for NFT swapping, essentially.
Sweet. Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah, there's a lot. There really is a lot going on. There's so, like even you guys just mentioning the different projects. Again, it's just all different little challenges within the ecosystem, little add-ons here, there, and everywhere. It really is a crazy freaking DeFi playground getting created here.
Well, that's the whole thing. It's like, all right, well, we're not like obviously we burnt Titan X on the mint. Like we're not like a hardcore like perpetual burn-in of Titan X kind of thing, but we're using Titan X not only as a leverage point, but as being a part of the ecosystem. And I think NFTs being like kind of like an essential part of DeFi in some ways, like you like them or you don't like them, they're still here and they're still doing their thing. So obviously they're the dragons, they're cool. Like, and with our marketplace, like I said, like there's other protocols that have NFTs. So we'll be able to list all of the other NFT projects built on top of Titan X within our marketplace as well. So people can actually transact within Titan X. So they don't have to swap back into ETH and buy them off of OpenSea. Like we can kind of keep things within our ecosystem. That was like the goal from the beginning. I knew that we needed to build the marketplace. I was like, if there's going to be NFTs involved, like I don't want people to be trading these in terms of Ethereum. I'd rather them be traded in terms of Titan X. So yeah, it's a deflationary thing built on top of Titan X. Like we're definitely like the OG project. I really wanted to get this out there, and the idea kind of came really randomly. Like I was trying to think of ways to like incorporate an NFT in a token, and it just seemed kind of like lame just to like burn the NFT to receive the token. So I came up with this way where you can just basically interswap them and get people involved with the ecosystem that way. So if somebody wanted to come in and hold it, it's kind of just like holding a stake of the Legend X token. And what it really helps to do too is since people are holding those NFTs, you have like a metric. You can actually go look at Etherscan and see who your diamond-handed holders are, right? Say if 50% of the NFTs, the tokens are claimed for them and 50% are held in the Battlefield contract. Well, those those people that are actually holding the NFT are your diamond-handed holders. You can actually go and see those metrics. I think that made sense.
Yeah.
And, okay, so just recapping a little bit. So you have the Titan Legends NFTs, which were the dragons. I still remember them. Yeah, they were one of the first project. Yeah, of course. I still see them on Twitter.
Dude, it's January.
Yeah. So you have an NFT. How do the current NFT holders get the token? Do they have to claim on the website? Do they get airdrop?
So they're able to, they hold their NFT now, and they're able to go to our Battlefield contract, which is essentially just a contract that swaps the NFT for tokens, right? And it burns 3% of the token. So it makes that token deflationary, and it can burn perpetually as people are either A, claiming the bounty for the NFT, which is claiming the Legend X token, or B, paying a ransom back to the Battlefield contract in the Legend X token and purchasing any NFT that they want out of that Battlefield contract. So it's like essentially just a two-way swapping mechanism. So yeah, it's kind of like a cool way to do it. So there's always going to be enough tokens in that Battlefield contract to pay for every NFT in circulation. So it kind of just recirculates themselves.
Yeah, I've seen this before. This actually works. Yes, you have a bunch
of
just locked up.
I haven't seen anybody do it with the burn-in mechanism though.
Yes.
Right. So once you get past a certain threshold, what will happen is that actually some of the NFTs will be stuck in the Battlefield indefinitely, making the collection deflationary itself, like the NFTs deflationary. And yeah, it should be really interesting to watch it unfold. It can run forever, which is the best part.
Okay, so one of the questions with the NFT marketplace. So let's say I'm a user, I want to buy one of the NFTs. I buy it with Titan X, and 3% buys and burdens Legend X via Titan X.
Right now it's a manual buy and burn. I didn't actually incorporate a buy and burn contract, which I can in the future. Now, especially that we're incorporating other projects. Initially, it wasn't, like 3% of 100 billion isn't like a ton. You know what I mean? It's not like I'm taking like a ton of funds in there. So I just set it up as a manual buy and burn for now. But yeah, so essentially any projects that end up listed on the NFT marketplace, there'll be a 3% fee in Titan X that goes to buy and burn the Legend X token as well. So there's essentially 3 burns.
Interesting. The burn, does it go to the dead address or
it's a true burn?
Okay, and is that a getter to track that? Like on the smart contract? Is there a get function to track the amount burned?
Yes. There's a function. Good. Like we're gonna have a whole stats page. I'm like really like a numbers guy. So you'll be able to go on and see like what the liquid value of your NFT is, what the net NFT deflation is. For example, how many NFTs are in the Battlefield, how many tokens have been burned, what's the actual like circulating supply market cap, et cetera, et cetera. So yeah, the stats page will really like bring a lot of light to it. And again, it's one of those things that sounds super, super complicated. Well, kind of, it's really actually simple. Either you claim your tokens or you pay the ransom. You claim your bounty or pay the ransom. It's a 2-button system. And then the marketplace just functions like any other marketplace, except we can use Titan X.
One of the things I would like to see in a lot more build on Titan X protocols is a stat page. So Titan X has one, Helios has one, where you see the pie chart of burn, staked, etc., etc.
Definitely.
Because that's super easy to like screenshot, post on social media. Like for example, Inferno has burned close to half of its supply, but it's hard to know because there's no stats page. It's kind of, you have to go to the burn page and it's like kind of hidden at the bottom. But if you have like a pie chart, and it's very simple to do, if you use React.js or Next.js, you can use, it's like a Chinese library. It's called eCharts. The pie chart that we have on the Titan X website is very easy to make if you know a little bit of code. But the pie chart is massive. And there's a bunch of libraries where you can use the pie charts. But I think that pie chart is so shareable. It's like, hey, everybody understands the pie chart. Surely it's not just numbers, it doesn't click.
Yeah, surely we can get our devs to create that quite easily, because I'm posting it multiple times, especially with during the mint cycles. I'm on Twitter constantly posting updates about how much is getting burnt, all that kind of stuff. It really would be so much easier just to be able to share a nice little infographic.
Yeah, same thing for Dragon X. Like for Dragon X, you could have liquid, locked in the hybrid NFTs, buy and burns. Like that pie chart would be so interesting because now I have to look on chain. You know, an average user doesn't know how to do that.
Marco saying there that he did comment for us, the Blaze team, to get it done. Marco, the team is on it. We are working on it.
I am working on it, and Flux will have it from launch. Just so I'll put that in there.
We all love numbers, man.
I'm asking you guys about what you're building. I have two things in the pipeline, which are I'm not even just mine are the couple of things that aren't being mentioned yet, but they'll be made public in the next week, possibly 2 weeks. You know, so
why is it so secretive? Let's hear it. Spill it.
Because I can't say anything. There's still details being locked in. Plus, what else have we got? The chat's actually really active here tonight. Marco the Hexagon's all over it. What have we got? Let me read out a couple of comments. Fast Abdul in the house here tonight as well. Nice one. Mo's all over it. There's the Flux. These word plays on Flux is doing the rounds. Mo's having a field day with all these different ways of throwing Flux into sentences. Netflix and chill's still the best one.
Netflix. Okay, that's a good one. That's good.
Exactly. Yeah. One thing I've noticed as well, a lot of these new protocols are throwing money into the Dragon X vault. What's your thoughts on that, folks?
I think it's awesome. I think creating it into like using your Titan X as a productive asset is really awesome. Generally like burning something, that's cool too. It increases value for holders, but taking and essentially I've been using the word recycling a lot, right? So you're taking that Titan X and you're put it in the vault, that's getting staked, that's turning into ETH payouts. You're constantly creating a recycling mechanism for that Titan X. So I love that idea. I think that I do expect, honestly, that more people will end up doing that as well, especially
one question. It says, were you going to say something?
No, go ahead, bro.
Okay. So you have the Dragon X vault. You also have the Helios vault. So with Helios, when it claims the Ethereum staking reward, 70% of the Ethereum first buys Titan X, then Helios, and then burns Helios, if I remember that correctly. Okay, got it. Just wanted to confirm. If I wasn't 100% sure, I didn't read the white paper about it.
Nobody does, But yeah, 100% of our treasury goes back to the community. 70% goes to buying and burning Helios, like Jake was saying. You have to buy Titan X to get there. 10% goes straight to stakers of the platform, and then 20% goes into our investment pool, where we're building additional treasuries to keep the flywheel running. Whether you're mining Helios or not, like our treasuries are going to be there to be earning ETH and buying and burning Helios. So, and I'm super stoked that like Flux is throwing some Titan X into the Helios treasury as well. To me, that's like a great signal of like the partnerships that we're able to build here. And it's the same thing. Like with Element 280, we will be buying and burning Flux. So it's like we're all helping each other out. We all have that single goal. And I feel like I'm a broken record every stream. I'm saying that, but it's just it really is what it is. Like every project helps Helios. Like thank you for launching Hydra, Jake. Like that's going to add more use case for Titan X, which helps Helios. Like all of these projects. And like with the NFT or the Titan Legends marketplace, like that, listing, Dragon X NFTs, Element 280 NFTs, like there's going to be it's going to be another go-to place. And that's, it's a place for somebody to go in the ecosystem to buy and sell NFTs. And when they do that, they're buying and burning Legend X. That's all helping the ecosystem, every bit of it. I love it.
Yeah, there's a lot of synergy happening right now.
There really is. It's fantastic. See, no spoon in the comments. Who all was mad at the Dragon X whale at first? Haha. But honestly, it was probably the best thing for all of us in the long run. When you see the way the community, there was absolute backlash at the time, but you see the support that it's getting now and what it's doing. I like this in the last few days. I've read a few white papers, and they're all throwing money into that Dragon X vault. Who came up with that first? Was that did you start throwing that out to the community, Jake? Did you you start mentioning that and people have latched on to it?
I think it was Eric at first, and then I was like, oh yeah, that's probably a better idea than just burning it. So yeah, it was definitely Eric first.
Yeah,
Eric is good at like hammering a point. That's like one of his strengths.
Lovely.
Yeah, there's a few people in the chat as well asking where James from Baby Dragon X is. I thought he was coming on. He must have had something else come up. And for Eric, this stream was at. Really loved to have had Eric on because he's been doing a great job with these long format streams. He's getting a lot of viewers. Hopefully, some yourself whenever you're kind of flicking through Twitter and you see somebody talking. Hopefully, he's catching a few new eyeballs that when they see the kind of viewer numbers. There was one stream that he did last week had like more on the same time as fucking BitBoy, and he had more people listening to him talk about Dragon X and Titan X than BitBoy had talking about probably some shitcoin. But that was good to see. But yeah, Eric, it's 4 a.m. for Eric. That's why he's not here. There's a few people in the chat asking where he is. So a shout out to Eric as well.
I'm calling excuses.
Yeah, exactly. I sent him a message saying, have you got any kids? No. Have you got a wife? No. Then I'll fucking see you at 4 a.m. then. But he's not here.
There'll be a part 2. We'll do a part 2.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. First principles of crypto. Have we taken it a little bit of a step further? Or are we first principles of crypto? What's your thoughts on that, guys? Some of the way these tokens get launched has been, wonderfully decentralized, no founder allocations, all that kind of stuff. What's your thoughts on the ecosystem is it first principles of crypto or is it something else? Jake, you start us off there.
So I like comparing things to what's in the market now. Because when you compare a bike to a skateboard is very slow. When you compare a bike to a Ferrari is massively faster than a bike. So when you compare it to like current market conditions, the average project that launches now, there's a bunch of seed rounds, Series A rounds, etc. And then you have a low float, like 5% going to the community, which means that whatever community buys on the market or on some kind of exchange is literally filling the pool for exit liquidity for the VCs and everybody to dump on. That's not first principles. That's just TradFi coming into crypto. So I think first principles is you allow the users to create their own tokens. Look at Bitcoin. People spinned up an EXE on their computer and they started spinning out Bitcoin. Now, in my opinion, it's a massive waste of economic energy because that could just go back into the Bitcoin protocol. But you didn't have Uniswap and its liquidity pools and stuff. Like, it was literally the first crypto, so it was impossible to do. But I think with our ecosystem, we're as close to first principles as you can get because all the users create their own coins. There's no insiders. Everything is extremely transparent because transparency is massively missing nowadays in crypto. There's no VCs, there's no insiders. The community create the first coins. A smart contract usually holds the liquidity pool, or it's very well known how the liquidity pool is created.
That's a fucking. I really love the way that's done within all the projects. It's a really good innovation.
Exactly. So the liquidity pool is locked. It's owned by a smart contract. You can verify it on chain. Users create all the tokens at first. That's as first principles as you can get. Yeah, no illegal ICOs, no pre-sales, no sacrifices. Community creates the tokens. Liquidity pool is locked. You have a decentralized community building on top of it. Nothing really rides on one person. Those are the main kind of points I like focusing on. Does anybody have anything else to add?
Yeah, I mean, personally, I really like how Titan X is used to mint X, Y, and Z coin, right? And then that Titan X is used as a productive asset. Like, you see, like, these just bullshit pre-sales launching left and right. They're raising $5-10 million, making like a little 20% liquidity pool, and then walking away from the project. I mean, you see this happen all the fucking time, and those people are literally just creating an excuse to steal your money. Is what it comes down to. And when you use a smart contract to,
Ali, mute. I think your microphone is acting up. Okay, continue.
Yeah, when you're using a smart contract to actually convert this Titan X into something else, it would be like the equivalent of like if you actually used your Ethereum to mint a token, right? And that Ethereum was used to buy and burn that token or whatever way you wanted to use that Ethereum as a productive asset. It's just, here's the thing, like people aren't, like when you look at crypto and you look at human nature, like human nature really comes out in crypto and people aren't honest. People are trying to find excuses to steal your money. And what we're doing here and what a lot of you guys are doing with these protocols now are building like the future of what DeFi can look like. You know, these protocols are insane. Just one on their own is insane, right? That would like for instance, like Helios or Flux or Inferno, just on its own without Titan X would be like a totally like unheard of. And now all of these things are together in one place, which is mind bending in itself, but it also creates good first principles to work off of from there. So I'm really excited to see how everything unfolds. I mean, it's incredible what's being built here.
Yeah, about the only thing y'all pretty much nailed all of it. The only thing I could really add is just, it's the funds are in smart contracts. Like that's the key for me. And that's what I try to say is like, the contract speaks for itself. You can go on Etherscan, you can see all the tokens that are in there, all the staking, like the staking pools, the buy and burn pools. Like it's not just send a bunch of money to random guy's wallet address and hope that they do something with that and build a project. Like every bit of this is just straight smart contracts. Like all of your money is going to a smart contract, and then from there doing whatever tokenomics they go from there. To me, that's extremely important. That's what really matters.
You want to know something crazy? Is I remember tweeting this a while back. Is I would love to see most of the liquid Titan X be held by smart contracts. And if you look in the top 50, 9 or 10 of the top holders are smart contracts. So we're getting there. That's cool.
It's insane. That is absolutely insane. The fact that the Titan X is being used as a productive asset within all of these other protocols. I mean, and people don't realize it yet because we haven't seen it. But once Titan X starts to really move in price, these liquidity pools, like in terms of dollar value, are going to be so thick. Like we just saw this happen with Baby Dragon X. They had almost $1 million worth of liquidity on a 3 million market cap token after that big run up that they had because Dragon X did that big run up. And I think that little piece right there is such a microcosm of what's about to happen with this entire ecosystem. So it's going to really what I think something important to talk about here is like, how do we attract new users? How do we attract new whales? Well, thick liquidity has a lot to speak for itself. Green candles, that also has a lot to speak for itself. And, whales want to be able to move in and out of something without necessarily just like pulling the whole thing down with it or getting stuck in a protocol because there's not enough liquidity to liquidate their position. So what we're doing is we're creating this massive liquidity web between Titan X and all these other projects that, again, everything's going to move up with it. And in terms of dollar value, it's almost unimaginable what's going to happen within all these protocols. Right?
Amen, brother. Amen.
It's crazy. I mean,
this is early. Like we're not even past the inflation phase. We still have a little bit left in September.
It's mad.
And then it's up to the gods, basically.
Up to the gods. Is the timing perfect? Does the whole market start to really ramp up in October, just as we get past the middle of September, the inflationary period kind of comes to an end? Is it perfect timing? Is it all playing out just beautifully? Is it?
Yes, it is.
Yes,
that was.
You always say that. You always say that everything's working out perfectly.
It is. Have you seen the numerology in Titan X? Not much of by accident. Like, trust me, I spent days planning out everything: symbology, numerology, all of it, cycle timing. So I did my best. So far, it seems to be working out.
I'll give a shout out to the verse. He's doing a really good job at tracking a lot of those milestones. He's got them on the chart, with giant arrows, and those milestones are stacking up. Lots of stuff going on over the next couple of months. And then you throw in the dozen protocols coming out as well. It's insanity. It's insanity.
Well, we do want to actually chat a little bit about the marketing side of things and get new users in. But I suppose, before that, how do we make sure we keep these first principles and these values and these core kind of things that we're building into the community now? How do we make sure that stays? I would see anybody at this stage that tried to come in and build something that didn't kind of meet the values that the rest of the builders are doing would be very, very quickly shut down by the community. But does it get harder to keep that as the ecosystem grows? Or what do you think about that?
We need to keep spreading the ethos. That's big, because in crypto you vote with your money and you vote with your reach. So even if you speak ill of a project, you're still giving it publicity. So if something tries to come in and tries to get money through an illegal method, which is literally illegal, you send money to a wallet, which is pre-sale, sacrifice, etc. That's illegal. One, it's bad. It's a bad luck on the community. Two, 90% of the time they're just going to run away with money or deliver some kind of subpar product. So it's up to the community to kind of, and this is why I'm harping on it now, is we're still in the early stage of a community. We're relatively big. It's like 13,500 holders of Titan X. There's probably like 14,000 plus if you account for the people that don't hold any liquid Titan X. Because there's a bunch of people that are all in on build on Titan X projects and don't hold any liquid. They're not counted as users or holders of Titan X. So we need to instill this into the community DNA at the start, because how something starts is how it ends. And we need to keep repeating it. Keep repeating the marketing message. Because I remember, I think it was Alex Formosi that said this, is in marketing, you often think, I only have to say something once. But in crypto, new users are coming in every minute. There's people that have never heard you talk, have never seen you mention anything. So it's repeating the same message over and over again. And the way Hormozi words it, he says, people need to be reminded more than they need to be taught. So saying the same thing 1,000,000 times over the next 3 to 4 years is a requirement, because there's always new users. There's people that forget. People need to be reminded. That's why we have calendars. If somebody's like, hey, you have a meeting 14 days from now at 1 p.m. and the next 5 minutes you've forgotten about it. So you need to be reminded every day by your Google Calendar, and like a day before, and then 20 minutes before, and then you're like, oh yeah, I had a meeting. So I just constantly repeating the values. And I think the way the builders are doing it now is absolutely perfect, because everybody's following the build on Titan X ethos, fair launch. It's very transparent how the developer makes money. The white paper is out. Everybody has the rules before the game starts. And the performance-based income, I think, is very, very attractive to developers. Because I've seen other communities try this whole build on thing, but it doesn't work because they start shunning the developers from making money. And it's like, what the fuck? Imagine you're a top tier talent. You've worked your entire life to amass all these skills on like how to build something, how to make it secure, how to work with a team and auditors and write code and build UIs and market and promote your thing. And then somebody's like, yeah, but you should work for free. It's like, okay, join this company, spend your entire life working on it, put your reputation on the line, and put your heart and soul into it. And we're not going to pay you anything. You'd be like, what the fuck? What kind of shit company is this? So I think our ethos is really good, and performance-based income for a developer is very attractive, especially for like top tier people. Because like, for example, the salespeople that come into a company, if it's salespeople that are looking for just only base pay, usually they're not that good at selling. But then the salespeople that come in and like, okay, fuck the base pay, give me commission only, but give me a higher commission because I'm not asking for base pay. Those are usually really, really good salespeople. And that's the performance-based income for a crypto project. It's the same. It attracts top-tier talent because they're like, yeah, hell yeah, I'll deliver. So I think, yeah, just constantly repeating the build on Titan X ethos, fair launch. And if a project comes in and doesn't do that, then you just point it out. If they adapt, they adapt. If they don't, the community just kind of like lets them do their thing, doesn't engage, doesn't give money, and then it just kind of disappears.
Yeah, it's
I've seen the community in the chat. I've seen the community in the chat already, like preaching these principles, and like with new projects coming out, they're saying, "Hey, you're not doing this, or this, and as you should be." And I think the community is really figuring out what we're trying to do here, and they're helping spread that word as well. But obviously, we can keep, like you're saying, keep preaching those principles as well.
Have we had any new? Has anybody noticed any new streamers popping up? I know Mo was giving out a kind of public call, to everybody that get out, have your voice heard. Spin up a stream of your own. Doesn't matter if you have a big audience or not. People, but everybody has their own take, and people will like what you have to say, no matter how big or how small. Has anybody noticed any new channels popping up or any new faces that are actually kind of saying, putting a bit of content out. I know Mo is actually doing some streams himself. Crypto Audi King's been mentioned in the chat there as well. He's covering quite a lot of what's going on in the ecosystem. The Verse is covering a hell of a lot of what's going on. Smooth and Crypto's in the chat there too. I think he's a little bit hit and miss at the minute. Need to step up the game there, Smooth and Crypto. But yeah, anybody noticed anybody new popping up yet?
I mean,
Yes.
Crypto Awesome's still doing stuff. He's an awesome guy, quite literally. We're actually having a stream. I have a stream with him tomorrow as well. He's stuck to Titan X pretty hard, so he's been covering all those projects, which I'm hyped about. But yeah, I mean, I'm sure over time, especially like these things become sticky, right? And it's like we're just about to hit that parabolic curve. It feels like that. That's how it feels to me anyway. Like say there's 1,500 people. I mean, 15,000 people in this ecosystem right now. We're just about to like start making that like parabolic move in terms of holders and people getting involved. And I wouldn't be surprised to see within the next 6 months, these numbers really pop up big time.
Do we need to? Okay, so is that going to happen by itself, or do we need to be? Do we as streamers? Do we as community members, builders, as other people in the community? What do we need to be doing to help it, or is this just going to happen itself because everything's built so well, because Titan X is fucking awesome?
I think it's a combination. I think green candles will bring new people to it, but at the same time, like I'm always reaching out and looking, if people have references, like I'm Eric's doing a really good job at that as well. Like he's leading the pack with he's really trying to get out there and get fresh eyes on this and on as many streams as possible. I see that, and I'm absolutely going to do that same thing. I've got several streams lined up in the near future. It's really a networking game. But yeah, no streamer is too small. I think we got to support some of these people that, if they're showing us, if they're putting Titan X on YouTube, then we should support them. And that's really where I'm at. But green candles will bring people. We've seen people calling Titan X a scam and blah, blah, blah. And then now they're streaming about it. It's, you see people turn around.
I mean, that's the crazy part. Like, one interesting thing I've seen as well is usually the effect of marketing you don't see instantly. Because usually, like the way crypto works is there's this thing in like conversion-based marketing where somebody has to see an ad 7 times before they even make the first click to enter a funnel. In crypto, it's even worse than that. They need to see a name like at least 30, 50 times. And then once it starts making a move, that's when they're like, oh shit, fuck, I've heard about this, I need to get in. That's how FOMO begins. It's not just one green candle, and it's like a bunch of new people discovering it. It's all the people that have heard about it before the months prior. It's already a cemented idea in their head. They know it's trustworthy, it's been around, they've been hearing about it for months. And then when things really start getting moving, they jump in. And that's kind of how FOMO comes in. FOMO is not out of nowhere, I don't know what this is, first time hearing about it. It's a build-up. So I think the way you get content creators in is you have to look at, Charlie Munger had the saying, show me the incentive and I'll show you the outcome. So streamers and content creators are looking for engagement. So I think one thing that is really unique about our community is the green circles on Twitter. Because somebody just needs to make one Titan X post and their entire notification feed is green circles. No other project has that. It's like, holy shit, this is different. And then once they make videos, you engage and they get likes and people are commenting and they see the green circles everywhere and then they're one of us. And that's kind of how it begins. And then if there's enough engagement, they keep promoting more, and it's like a flywheel. The community is a flywheel. More community members, more green circles in notification. It builds more brand awareness. That brings new people in whenever a move starts or whatever. And then you get more content creators. And more content creators, more engagement. More engagement is more content creators. Even the community, and especially with the green circles, is a massive flywheel. So it's up to the community to just show support. Because I can show support, but I'm just one green circle in a notification. Like nobody really cares that much. It's like, oh, the founder, of course, he's going to like this thing. But then when you have like 1,000 community members after it, it's like, damn, this is epic. It's cool.
Yeah, because I was flicking through Twitter and you see, there's a lot of people posting a lot of really, really great content for the ecosystem. And it's just something very simple. There's I think there's something like 800 people on the stream here today. And as a community, a really simple thing that, everybody can be doing more is, quote tweeting a lot of the stuff that gets shared. There's some really good content that gets put out, and if there's 13,000 community members here already, all right, maybe not everybody's on Twitter, but I mean, some of these posts are only getting like 8 retweets, 5 comments. It's something that Titan X could be very easily trending quite regularly on Twitter. And I think just that's a really simple thing that the whole community could be doing. Retweeting everybody else's tweets more, quote tweeting especially helps the algorithms. And that's just something so simple that this army of green circles can do. It really is surprising of some of the some of the really good posts. Angels and Demons is putting out some really great graphics and content. Mackenzie's putting out some awesome stuff as well that really helps people understand some of the mechanics within the ecosystem. And these things need to be pushed far and wide by everybody. So everybody watching, don't be afraid to, when you see something that you like, actually take the time to retweet, comment, all that kind of stuff. What's that you're sharing in the comments, Jake?
That's to create border. So if you go to the app.titanx.win, not .com, .win website, app.titanx.win/share, there's a create border tab, and you can just drag in, you can just upload your image. It doesn't store it anywhere. Everything's happening in your browser. It creates a green circle, then you just download it, put it as your profile picture, and that's how people do it. And every once in a while, I put up this post like, hey, comment green below and I'll make your profile picture. And people love it, so I do it. That's a great way. So more people in the community should do that. It works really well.
You'll be able to go to
ET in the comments, ET in the chat as well. Welcome, ET.
You'll be able to go to flux.win to do the border as well as soon as it's live.
Good.
Yeah, we have a tool on our website as well, titanlegends.win, to make a green circle.
Nice.
Y'all are making me feel inadequate over here now.
I know. I'm being discriminated against by my own community.
Dude, I got a widget for you. I'll send it.
I'm fucking keeping that pulse chain ring to the death.
Well, I'm literally to the death.
Yeah.
Okay, anyway.
Okay, there was a comment back there that you mentioned this. Let me go back and find it. What was that? Let's just pull that out quickly. This, okay. For future builders, don't forget the BLSP law: burn or lock or stake, and most important, pair with Titan X. Pretty cool. Did you just make that up there, or is that some sort of narrative that I've missed elsewhere?
I think I made a tweet about it, and then people turned into an acronym. So I was like, build on Titan X, burn or stake or lock. So like staking is like Dragon X. Locking is like you lock it in a smart contract and it releases over a very, very long period of time. That's a form of locking because it takes it out of user hands. And then burn is just straight burn to the dead address, or dead address is probably the simplest way to do it. But the pair with Titan X is non-negotiable. So you can burn, stake, or lock, but the pairing, that's the biggest thing in the ecosystem, because otherwise people have to sell down.
What about pairing with other coins within the ecosystem? What about pairing with Dragon X? Is that
that's fine. That's fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're indirectly pairing with Titan X. Like, even if you're pairing with Dragon X, like Baby Dragon X is a perfect example that we saw. When Titan X pumps, Baby Dragon X still sees that price movement. It's still that leverage play. As long as you're pairing with a token that is paired with Titan X, or we're seeing even third generation tokens, like the inception is real. But all of it's like it's just more and more degen, and that's where you're going to see higher risk, higher reward plays on those like those really like end points, But Titan X, it's still all funnels through Titan X.
Yep.
Okay, so just going back, is there anything else that they think we can be doing to bring new eyeballs in? Obviously, streaming is a big thing. Anything else that anybody else think of anything else that the community or us as builders could be doing? I think Eric had kind of asked, that was a question that he wanted to kind of me to ask the builders was, what can you do to step up a little bit. Have you any thoughts on that, Rudy or Dude? Even Rudy first.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. I think just having like these onboarding tools, honestly, what you're working on is great. I mean, being able to come into the ecosystem and have a piece of the pie through, whether you're using Titan X or you're using Ethereum, I think that's really important. And I think a lot of like these piece of a pie ideas or these liquidity webs that are being formed are all really good onboarding tools for us. So yeah, I mean, staying active is number one though. Like you just got to keep hammering it, like keep hammering Twitter, keep doing these streams. Like what you guys are doing with this weekly stream is amazing. I think that these things are so important because people always want to know what, why, and when. And, if you're just kind of answering the questions before they come up and just staying on top of the ball and, sharing figures and, week over week or day over day, different changes and everything, like stats are a big thing, So like Jake, you've been posting a lot, like just the stats page on Titan X, right? Like that, like you can kind of see the progress day to day. And then there's, what was the Titan X Hub, obviously, like they're doing stuff. And then there was another one, Titan X Watch. You can kind of see like the net daily deflation or inflation and, kind of keep an eye. So these things are all sticky points. Like we want to create as much stickiness so that people are glued to this, right? And I don't look at a lot of crypto as investments, right? Like they're plays or they're gambles or whatever. Titan X is one of the very, very few that I'd consider a true investment where you can comfortably buy and hold, or you can, I'm not telling you to call your grandma, I'm using this as an expression, but you can get your family involved and not feel like you're like leading them down this like crazy rabbit hole. I'm sure we've all called a friend that we were excited about a project about, and the project went to zero or whatever. Like we probably have all done that. Like we've been in crypto long enough, like let's admit it. So, I think like in that sense, like getting like your personal network involved is, I'm not financial advice, obviously, but like I wouldn't recommend any other crypto to a person, put it that way, or like get involved in this ecosystem. And that's a risky move. Again, I don't like to like pull people into crypto, but if they're interested in DeFi and they want to learn something, there's a lot to unpack here. You read the Titan X white paper and you start from there. Then you can go into Inferno. You can read about Helios. And then when you get really big brained, you can start reading about Flux and like, it kind of gets crazy from there. But, education is number one. I know I like covered a lot of points there, but
the thing you said about stats is massive because whenever I'm out of like tweet ideas, I just start thinking, okay, what stats can I share? And there's a bunch of like, because I used to be a massive media buyer. Like I managed close to $2-3 million of media spend on Meta ads, a little bit of TikTok ads. And in copywriting, there's this idea if you can say things in multiple ways. So like, for example, you can take a screenshot of the app.titanx.win/stats page, post that on Twitter. You could do a screenshot of the build on Titan X leaderboard, post that on Twitter. You can do the supply chat, post that on Twitter. You can just copy the buy and burn amount, post that on Twitter. You can just copy the stake amount, post that on Twitter. You can take one piece and page and you can probably do 200 different variations of the same tweet and they all hit different pockets of the audience. It's like this idea that you can say the number 20 in a bunch of different ways. You can say 19 more than 1. You can say 100 minus 80. You can say 20% of 100. It's the same idea. You can just package it in multiple different ways and then you have 5 or 10 tweets per main topic that you're trying to convey. So studying copywriting is actually massive for because you'll notice the way you word something reaches different pockets on Twitter. And I think Twitter is the best marketing tool by far because everybody on Twitter is crypto native. Mm-hmm. Onboarding somebody out of crypto that is like on centralized exchange and they're kind of in crypto, but like somebody that doesn't own any crypto at all, getting them first to own their own wallet, then to go into DeFi, that's like a couple month process just to get them going. At least on Twitter, everybody has a wallet, they're active, they understand crypto, they're in the culture. Most of the money is there because if you bring somebody in from outside of crypto, has never interacted with crypto, maybe they're playing around with like $500. But if you get a crypto native and you explain, hey, this is how the ecosystem works, here's the statistics, they click around, and then the things start clicking. And the people that play around in DeFi are usually big players, like 10,000, 20,000, 50,000, 100,000, a million plus. And the only way to reach them is through Twitter, and the only way to get them in is to put them down a rabbit hole where they can do their own research and come to their own conclusion, because these guys want to know what they're doing. So like the stats, it's a massive angle to get like the big shop players in, because they want to see statistics.
Sure.
Some great points there, Jake. Go ahead, dude.
I agree with all of that, and like my main point of focus is more so like that the idea of if you build it, they will come. And creating, just head down building and just true utility and adding more use case to Titan X. Over time, people will start seeing it. Like it's. And like with Element 280, adding a toggle button to like, oh, I don't have any Titan X, just toggle the button. Now you've got your ETH and you're coming in. And like with Wind Vaults, it's the second project I'm developing currently. That's going to be completely branded outside of Titan X. Like users of Wind Vaults won't know that it's related to Titan X anyway. They're just going to come to that project on its own merit, for what it has to offer. And then when they get into the details, they'll start seeing, oh, what is Helios? What is this? Oh, it's built on Titan X. What's going on here? And they basically get onboarded without even realizing it. That's really the main, avenue that I'm going. Obviously, streaming. I'm happy to stream with anybody and everybody. So like. Open invite. If people know somebody, throw their contacts in the chat, and I'll reach out to them.
Yep.
Yeah, I think that's.
Sorry,
let me just do it. I think that's a great point. Actually, anybody watching, my DMs are open. If anybody knows any other streamers out there that would be interested in talking about anything Titan X or even Inferno, Blaze, anything like that, I do reach out to people, and sometimes for me it can be a little bit time consuming. I've got so many things going on that it's hard for me to put the time away to get all these meetings set to actually get so a little bit of help from the community again there. If anybody knows anybody, I'm sure all the guys on the screen here would be interested in going on any other stream. So I'm sure there's people watching that have contacts out there. Feel free to drop them in the DMs. Any sort of any contacts that you have that you could get us on anybody else's streams. Yeah, that's it. Mike Dean, what are your thoughts on the community marketing wallet? Okay, this is something that's being banded about now quite a lot, talking about it on the weekly spaces. I think it's a great idea. It's going to be a lot of work for whoever's taking it on to manage it. And it needs to be done right. The whole community will be watching, be a lot of eyeballs on it. It's you've seen in the Hex ecosystem how much money was wasted on shit marketing. You wouldn't want the same thing happening. But yeah, I mean, it's a great idea. Anybody in the panel here got any thoughts on this community marketing wallet? I am seeing white papers on a daily basis. It's another thing that's getting mentioned about throwing a little bit of money towards the community marketing wallet. What's your thoughts on that, Jake? There's people in the comments here calling you a marketing genius. The last time I heard people calling anybody a marketing genius, it was Richard Hart. So, marketing genius, is this marketing wallet a good thing for the community?
Marketing is a tricky subject because it's like in the media buying world, you have two different kind of people. You have the branding people and you have the direct marketing people, the direct converting people that run ads, get people into funnels, get them on a sales call, close them, or they just directly buy into a funnel. I'm not a fan of a marketing wallet because one, it forces the coins to be sold off into Ethereum, because how the fuck are you going to pay somebody in Titan X? The other thing is marketing is heavily misunderstood, which is why media buyers and ad spend managers make so much goddamn money, because nobody understands how to get conversion into an ecosystem. I'm also not a fan of KOLs because I think the KOL industry is massively scummy and massively scammy. I think it's a piece of shit. So like paying for influencers, I'm not a fan of. The best way you could spend money is with Twitter. The way I look at Twitter is when you make a Twitter post, you see whether or not the market resonates with it based on engagement in the comments and what people are saying, especially if it reaches into new pockets of audiences, and using that to boost that ad that tweet into a crypto native audience. It's probably the best way to do it. Because if you start doing banner ads and you start putting like pictures, like for example, if somebody takes a sticker and puts the Titan sticker on a poll, it's like, oh, cool, nice little logo. Like, how are they going to connect their MetaMask wallet? How are they going to see the statistics page? Like, marketing in general doesn't work for crypto. I'm a big fan of organic grassroots because the people you get in organically, they stick around for longer. They're bigger players. They talk about it more. They feel like they discovered it on their own. Like, we have close to 15,000 users purely organically, not a dollar spent on marketing. I'm not a fan of a marketing wallet at all. I think paid marketing in crypto is a waste of money. And even the ads that could work, like Google ads, Meta ads, TikTok ads, etc., crypto is banned on all of those. So you have to kind of like do these subpar marketing methods that don't have any ROI. So it forces the Titan X price to get sold down into Ethereum, and then the Ethereum goes to wasteful spending. I don't like it. The idea of a marketing wallet. I think organic is the way to go.
Laughing in the comments. Somebody said Hex sponsored Barnsley Football Club.
Yeah, stuff like that. It doesn't work, you know? Yeah.
Yeah, man. I have to totally agree with all of that you said. Like the organic approach that's been done with Titan X and like bringing people in through this ecosystem. I think that's going to be the most effective way to do it. Paying KOLs. I mean, I've learned the hard way in a lot of respects. Like, it is the biggest waste and the silliest thing. Like, these guys literally just want to take your money, make a 5-second post, and then forget about it, you know? And it's very few times that they're really invested in the project. And even if they are, it's not necessarily super effective. It's not like you see an ROI, you know? Like, people will come in, buy, and dump. Like, that's just what happens every single time. Like, that's just
100%.
That's the nature of the beast. Like, so, you know, like, I think, like, in terms of like I said before, the best thing you could do is like be loud, even with the people that you know, or like online and like doing these streams and everything. Like, what we've been doing is pretty awesome, and it's just going to continue to grow.
So, Jake, let me ask you this. I mean, the Twitter, seeing you put out on your own Twitter that you'd posted something like 28 tweets a day solid for 2.5 years. Is that obviously, I don't see that you posting that much. Is that like, have you got a lot of stuff automated that's bumping out tweets regularly, or, you know, how do you just, is that counting in, like, if you reply to somebody's comment, or is it you bounce, what, you know, you bounce onto Twitter, you know, for an hour a day, make 28 comments, and that gets the count up, gets the, you know, and gets the level you're talking about? Or is that the way to go about it, or is there some other way to attack it?
I mean, there's a bunch of ways to do it. I think the posts only count specific posts that you make or a thread. I don't think it counts comments. I'm not 100% sure on that, but I think Twitter is amazing because you could take 30 seconds of work, and an average tweet reaches like 5,000 people, of which 60% is kind of like core audience people that follow you, but 40% is outside of Twitter. Like, when I look at my Twitter feed now, I see a bunch of posts of people that I don't follow. Like 80% of my feed is people that I don't follow. So these things reach people that you don't even know. And the biggest whales in general don't even engage on Twitter. Like, that's another thing I've noticed, is they just read something, they all go off and do their research, and all of a sudden you see a big buyer coming out of nowhere. You don't know who it is. But I think Twitter is by far the best marketing method combined with YouTube. YouTube is massive. But with YouTube, you have to have catchy titles. You have to go down to like mainstream crypto road where it's like 100x crypto, new DeFi protocol. Like, you have to get very excited in the YouTube titles. YouTube shorts work really well. TikTok shorts work really well. I used to have a team that did those. Maybe I should do that again. But I think engaging on Twitter, liking, commenting, quote tweeting, it reaches into way more audience than you could ever realize. Like, I think in the last year, I have close to 17 million impressions. If you compare that to ad spend, if you pay on average $18 per 1,000 viewers, that's roughly $300,000 in paid ad spend for free. And that's only going to get bigger. And then I try my best to retweet people in the ecosystem, retweet builders, give them reach. And then you kind of create these subcultures within the big culture. So, like with Metcalfe's law, the way Metcalfe's law works is if you have real holders. So let's say a token has 10,000 holders. You do 10,000 times 10,000, and that's the Metcalfe value of the network. So 10,000 times 10,000 is 100 million. Now, the reason I mention that is Metcalfe's law actually gets stronger when you have subcultures within the main culture. So you have like 10,000 holders, and then you have subcultures within those 10,000 holders. That Metcalfe law network is way bigger than just without the subcultures. So I think with the build on Titan X ecosystem, or Metcalfe's law could go absolutely crazy.
Yeah,
I don't think people realize that
definitely
stuff I can't say as a founder,
subcultures.
but those numbers are real. Yeah.
Yeah, I did see back a while back in the chat the holders of Titan X. I haven't been keeping a close eye on it. How have we gained much over the last month since how well is the numbers of actual core Titan X holders doing, Jake?
Good. I think we went up 700-ish or 500-ish in the last 3 weeks.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
That's a lot.
Yeah. Marco in the comments there, little by little. Yep, everybody's just plugging away here, little by little. But yeah, the sub communities. There's with all the builders. There's the sub communities. Blaze its own little ecosystem. Helios got its own little ecosystem. Giannis over on Pulse Chain. There's so many little sub ecosystems within it. So it's shaping up very, very well.
I agree. I also saw a question on centralized exchanges.
Yeah, I was going to
So
say
centralized
that.
exchanges, it's a mixed bag, because the way you get on centralized exchanges, you have to give them a percentage of the supply, which already is hard, because even Genesis doesn't own that much of the supply. Like they want usually 5%, like or more of the supply to even list you, and then you have to pay a listing fee. I think I haven't looked into it, and I probably can't say it for legal reasons, but you pay a listing fee to get on exchanges, and they get a percentage of your supply, and usually exchanges manipulate prices. So with Titan X, we're banking on DeFi exchange volume, DEX, decentralized exchange volume. So back when DEXs came out, it was roughly like 1% DEX volume, 99% centralized exchanges. Now we're closer to like 15 or 18% DEX volume, 80% centralized exchanges, and that number is just going up. So I think by just focusing on DEXs, we are part of the future. And I think DEXs are far going to overpower centralized exchanges as the user experience gets better and more users get onboarded into crypto. I think DEX volume is just going to keep going up. So I think centralized exchanges are kind of like a nothing burger. And usually when something is listed on a big centralized exchange, that's when it kind of just dies off.
Yeah,
it's no longer the old days.
I totally agree. And I mean, I'm sure most people, even within our ecosystem, any centralized exchange, you're just putting your money in and out of it through it. I don't take anything out. Everything stuff only ever goes in through it. Nothing ever comes back out.
Yep, exactly. Centralized exchanges it's old crypto people that still think it's a good thing, but anybody that has been in crypto for a while realizes centralized exchanges are actually bearish, not bullish. It's very, very bearish. And it gives you something to grow into. Like at some point, we'll be on centralized exchanges, but it's because they're going to be forced to, not because we're paying them.
Yeah, there's also multi-chain, just getting users on other chains, I think is a big deal. Like X28, I think will really boost the holder count just with that. And I am doing the same thing again with Wind Vaults. Like that's going to be on multiple chains. You won't even realize that you're interacting with the Titan X ecosystem, but it'll bring in more users. It'll put more eyes on it. Absolutely.
So, have you got any ideas, Jake, that you would like to see, the direction you would like to see X28 go? If we go omni-chain here with the ecosystem, is there any chains that you see as a potential better playground for the ecosystem than others? Yeah, just that is, there's a lot of choice out there. There's a lot of places we can go. A lot of things are going to open up with X28. Any insights or thoughts on where it goes next? It's a hard question.
About volume. Like non-native coin volume, Ethereum is the best. Like Ethereum is still the best. Then second off, you have Solana, but I hate the culture on Solana. Fucking hell, Solana is such a shit show. There's a couple of good like protocols, but most of the Solana culture is a fucking shit show. I hate it. Then you have Binance Smart Chain, it's pretty good. Arbitrum, kind of like a VC infested chain. Like, is it really like altcoin volume on that? Base is good. I like Base. Like, but a smart chain, Base, I like. I think with layer 0, we can also get it on Solana, so it can exist there. Those are probably the biggest ones, and it'll exist on all the chains that layer 0 supports. Maybe
Yes.
Pulse Chain, but even with Pulse Chain, you can still build on Pulse Chain, because you can just take Titan X, bridge it over bridge.pulsechain.com, because since it's an ERC20 bridge, so Titan X already exists on Pulse Chain. It doesn't have layer 0 support, but you can already build on Titan X on Pulse Chain.
I think
But I think
the
the highest
builders,
volume chain.
yeah, I think a lot of the builders are all pretty, well, whenever we get a little bit of a turnaround on Pulse Chain, it'll be nice to see a lot of action over there. Who knows? I'm still heavily involved over there, but when everything moved, Solana was the place to be. Then Base was the place to be. Now I see Shrey's mentioning Tron is the place to be. Everybody's bridging, running over to Tron to get their asses wiped clean.
Randy,
where do I go next? Yeah, Base. I mean, Base seems to be a solid place to maybe focus a little bit of attention. Maybe I'm wrong there. I don't know, but yeah, Pulse Chain seems like a logical progression. We just need some more action over there because it's absolutely dead still.
But another thing that's kind of interesting to think about is the builders that already have protocols could deploy the protocol multi-chain on top of X28, which is basically Titan X. And then you already have your protocol, you just replace Titan X with X28, and then your protocol can exist on all the chain. As some chains will have like a $10,000 market cap, some people will be like $500,000, some will be 3 million. Like, it depends on adoption on the specific chain. But like, that could be an idea. I was thinking about doing that, like hyper on each chain, using X28. Yeah, there's a bunch of routes we can take once that happens.
Dude, you're all over it. Where do you want to go and play next?
I really like that Titan X the core is on ETH. So like going multi-chain from here, like that's just going to bring in more users, but I wouldn't want the core on any other chain. Like ETH, if you notice, like every chain that comes out, their first goal is to bridge to Ethereum. Otherwise, they don't get any users. Like, they have to bridge to Ethereum. So we're kind of doing it the other way around. Like, we've got our core base on Ethereum, and then now we can expand from there and just increase users. But for me, like, I hate Solana as well. It's like it's the
Me
worst.
too. I fucking hate it. Yes.
Coinbase is doing a fantastic job of onboarding DeFi. Like, Coinbase has their a DeFi wallet that people can kind of get their feet wet on doing those things. So like I like that, but my Arbitrum is really, I don't know, like it's a layer 2 of Ethereum, I guess, is why I like it more, because it's still backed by Ethereum and it's one of the top L2 chains. But yeah, I mean, at this point we're on Titan X. We're on ETH. That is the core. And like, anywhere we go from here is just extra.
When I hear something crazy, so the market is kind of nuking while we're on stream. Titan X is down way less than Ethereum. Titan X is a safe haven, seriously, and especially Hyper and stuff. Like, it's kind of crazy how well our ecosystem is holding up against Ethereum, going through like this choppy market that it's going through. Titan X is safer than Ethereum at this point, which is kind of crazy.
Holy shit! Yeah, Ethereum down 10% almost today, 4% in the last hour. Titan X, yeah. I've seen somebody commenting earlier that it's dumping while we're on stream, and I looked, it's like a 4% dump. It's like, yeah, that's nothing. But yeah, fucking hell.
I saw that. Well, didn't the Ethereum Foundation send a bunch of ETH to Kraken the other day? It's like $100 million or something. So see what happens. I'm not really worried about it.
Yeah, I mean, one of the interesting things is when you look at so your friend saw me like sharing the others BTC chart. That seems to be curving up again, being that altcoin season is very close. Usually it happens like after September, mid-September, somewhere around there, like in this cycle. Ethereum doesn't really do much in the beginning of the cycle. Like, it has its glory days after Bitcoin dominance starts going down. But everything that we've had in the Titan X ecosystem has been with Ethereum going down. What happens when it's the other way around? That's what things can get It could all nuke to zero. I can't get too excited.
Could all nuke to zero. Yeah, we're lucky any of this stuff
Yeah.
works. That's your favorite line, isn't it?
I need to post it under every.
What's that all about? You know, it's crazy if any of this stuff works. We're all building stuff that works fucking awesome. All right, hopefully it doesn't nuke to zero, but the actual contracts and all the systems, they really do work pretty damn well. So yeah, congratulations.
Yeah, things are very secure. Like
Yeah.
almost everything has multiple audits, like zero issues on the last audit, etc., etc. Like things are very secure. I just like being legally good. So I like doing disclaimers. Like people kind of read through it anyway. They hear it in every video, they see it in every tweet. Like it's just good practice.
Yeah, just like to say thank you to everybody watching. This is the first time we've ever had over 1,000 people watching the stream. You know, at the start, you talk about consistency. We decided to start this stream, you know, whatever it was, about 3-4 months ago, and there was weeks that we had maybe 50 people tune in. So yeah, thanks for all you guys coming on here. Obviously, all the builders on here bring more eyeballs in. But yes, woo! Happy days, onwards and upwards, friends. Ha. So, well, you know, is everybody just building? What are you doing to keep yourself sane outside crypto? Are you know, Jake, what are you doing outside crypto at the minute, or are you just balls deep 24/7?
Outside crypto, I'm in the sauna thinking about crypto. So it's pretty much like it. Yeah, once you're in crypto, it kind of becomes your life.
Yeah,
it's one of those extremely sticky things. Like when I'm sleeping, I'm thinking about crypto. When I'm waking up, I'm thinking about crypto. When I'm relaxing, I'm thinking about crypto. Like this industry takes your soul. I love it.
It's hard to relax now. Like even I tried to go on a holiday last week, sitting on the beach, and I was like, "This is fucking shit. I need to do something." It's really hard to relax, man. Seriously. I've got a quick question just to sort of sidetrack that real quick. With all these protocols launching in like the next 2 months, is there, and this is to Jake first and then I'll open it up to everyone else, is there a strategy that we should be discussing, like phasing launches? Does it matter? Like what's your feeling on that?
Yeah, you can phase stuff if launch dates or no. Because the issue as well is if there's no launch date planned, things can take way longer than expected. Because we can all agree, oh, this thing is launching on the 18th or 28th or whatever, and then it doesn't, and there's delays or the audits come late, and then everybody's waiting for nobody, you know? It's kind of hard to phase them out. I think you just kind of have to let people do whatever they want to do. If they want to launch together, they launch together. I don't think it matters that much. Because a lot of these protocols, even if it doesn't have a hyped launch day or whatever, they can just work. Like not everything relies on one day, and they can start a little bit later and start picking up, etc. Like none of these protocols really need like a hyped launch. They could just work even if it's just one person participating. Yeah, the coordination would be cool, but it's almost impossible to pull off.
I try to give, you know, I think given every project 24 hours, you know, like we don't have to launch on the same day. You can push your launch back 24 hours to give somebody else that light for just one day. You know, to me, that's really all I would strive for.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
I think that's a really good point. You know, and we're at the point too that everybody knows each other. It's not like, you know, like we've all talked in DMs at some point or another. Like it's easy enough to coordinate that, right? If we know that's one protocol is launching, we're not going to just like go ahead and just launch it on top of them and say, fuck it, you know, just like give people time to think a little bit. I think that's really, really smart and easy to do. Super easy to do.
Mo saying the dude is the dude for a reason.
The dude abides. The dude abides.
I love how Stray is constantly in the comments. Hydra white paper, Hydra white paper. I've seen it pass by like 50 times.
I did a stream last week. This is how grim it can be at times. But I did a stream last week, and the only person that commented for the whole 35 minutes was Shrey. It was like 20 comments, all him the whole way down the whole time. It's just me and him having a conversation.
I mean, this is kind of the thing in crypto. Like the way you outperform is by having more information than the average person. And the only way to do that is to engage, read, go deep in the comments on Twitter, see everything, listen to like all the telegrams, etc. Because like one piece of information in crypto is enough to set you up for years. Like if you understand things before everybody understands them, that's how you make it in crypto.
Exactly. The space moves way too fast. You can't get me away from the laptop for that reason. Like you step away and you come back and you've missed too much. You just I just have to stay in it.
Yeah, no bad sports. I hope your missus isn't watching this stream. You saying being on the beach was shit.
Yeah, no, I did. I told her while I was on the beach. This is shit.
I do the same, to be honest.
Yeah, I've had to stop going like socializing for a while because I end up going out and I'm with friends and all I'm doing is staring at my phone on Telegram, Twitter. Like I've just had to say no to so many like occasions and get-togethers because it's just pointless now. So I'm hoping at some point that'll end, but it's worrying at the minute. Getting bad.
Do you guys like ever touch grass, or is that just me?
I mean,
I try to.
Which grass are we talking about?
Now, when it comes to the touching grass thing, sometimes I touch grass. And then I look at the grass and I'm like, okay, how can I make a tweet about this? How can I relate grass to a Titan X tweet? That's how I look at everything nowadays.
Dude, oh my God, I was in the ocean one day and I was like thinking about Titan X. And I was like, it's like the ocean. Like,
yeah,
oh,
we're
man.
insane. Like people that are deep in crypto, like, and this is the cool thing about Twitter, because usually people that are like active on Twitter are like all time crypto. So the best alpha you usually find on Twitter. Because it's the people that have no life, and the only thing they think about is crypto. Even like with my girlfriend, like half of the time we're throwing crypto jokes around.
Must be nice.
Good.
Yeah, poor girl, God love her.
She likes it.
So actually, on that, dude, do you do your crypto? Is crypto full time for you, or do you have a regular real life job?
Yeah. This is everything. I've it went from like before I quit my job, like it was literally work and then go home and get on my laptop and do crypto. And then after the point where I'm like, I'm making more money on my hobby in crypto than in my main job, it's like, what am I doing here? You know, like, so officially this entire year has been 100% crypto for me.
Nice.
And I'm hooked on it. I love it. You can't get my mind off of it. Just like you guys, like it's no matter what's going on, like I'm still thinking about ways to like new ideas to implement. Like being a builder is even more fun than like before. I was just an investor and it was watching charts and like keeping up with news and making all those swing trades. And now, like as a builder, it's just like, you know, what cool stuff can I come up with? Because I mean, with smart contracts, you can build anything. It's just, you know, a matter of time. So like it's too much fun. It's too much fun. And, you know, I don't see me, you know, don't tell my girl this, but you won't see me stopping building, you know.
Oh, Rudy, you full-time crypto, or you still working a job as well?
I do like rental property management and stuff like that. So I've been doing that for the last 10 years. So I got other things going on, but mostly crypto. I'd say 70-30, 70-40, 60-40 roughly.
Bad sports. You can't wait to go full-time crypto. She can't.
Yeah, I mean, my boss isn't very happy, put it that way. So, yeah,
I mean, you're close, dude.
Yeah, I'm in like full 8 till 5, 50-hour weeks, and then all this at the same time. So that's pretty.
Yeah, you're only sleeping about 3 hours a day. Is that right?
Not far off it, mate.
I mean, one of the craziest things that I remember, because when I had a job as a software engineer, I would spend like an hour in the morning commuting, work for 8.5, 9 hours, spend an hour commuting back. And then you have like 3 hours of maybe energy left to focus at the end of the day. Like you have to make enough money to the point where you can support yourself without a job. And you can base that off of like yield in crypto, or like you do your portfolio and you do it minus 50% just to mark down and be like, okay, on this money, if I take off 5 or 7% a year, can I live off this money? And then once you go full-time, that's when you can make full-time money. Because with part-time energy, you only make part-time money. So I remember the feeling of my life changing, I have my calendar open, it seriously opens up your life. So like retiring, and the fastest way to do it by far is becoming a builder, because you control your own fate. And it's more predictable. And then once you're a builder, you control your own income as well. It's nice. It's awesome. So becoming a builder in crypto requires your full-time focus. So getting to that full-time point, you'll notice things change massively, like massively. You can do so much more. You have so much energy. All of your space can be dedicated towards the thing that you're doing. And in my opinion, your IQ actually goes up because it has all of your focus. And you're so much better at problem solving because it's the only thing you think about all day. And you don't have other people's problem that you're dealing with, or like this thing that you're working on at your job. Once you go full-time, you become a different person, like seriously.
Okay, here's everybody. Well, here's a quick question to everybody. You know, what's the one thing that, so there's going to be a lot of new builders. You know, a lot of new builders stepping up. I'm seeing a lot of new white papers. A lot of people, you know, asking a lot of questions about building. Is there any one bit of advice that you'd give to somebody stepping in to create a crypto project, something from your own experience that you didn't really see coming, that was hard to deal with or hard to do, or just any little bit of advice for somebody that's thinking about, you know, embarking on building a crypto project? Anybody want to answer that quick? You don't need to go into too much detail, just some wee little tidbit of information that could help somebody.
I'll start by saying ideas are cheap. You know, like that's ideas.
Dude, oh my God, yeah.
It's so easy to have an idea, but like to actually implement it is a ton of work. And then what I learned with Helios was like, I felt like I was FOMOing the launch of my own project, and just trying to like feel like I want to get it. I need to get it out there. I need to get it out there. Like it's the same thing with anything in crypto. Like slow down, take a step back. Like don't FOMO. You know, DYOR. Make sure you're doing the right plays. You know, and make sure you're doing everything correctly. It's not going to kill your project if you launch 2 weeks late. It really won't. It's more important to just like be 100% on like your audits. You can't skip on certain things, and and that's the other thing is audits are probably the highest expense of your project, I would say, and you can't skimp on that. You can't find some cheap auditor and then because the second you've got an exploit, you're done for. So that would be my advice. Just
that's a big one. That that did bite me in the ass a couple of times at the start. Whenever I started building, you kind of don't even. Not saying you don't. Even when I was building Pulse Wars before all the Titan X stuff and all this real focus on audits and stuff like that, I did get hit hard, not accounting for what the audits would cost, and then we're setting this standard within the Titan X ecosystem of double audits and that kind of stuff. One audit's expensive enough, but and then having to pay for a second one, it's a great point to bring up, dude, that anybody building or thinking of building, whenever you've got your ideas, do really pay attention to what the audits are going to cost you as well. It's hard to do before you kind of get your contracts written and all that, but it's something to, whatever your quote is for development fees, just double it, because the audits are probably going to cost the same again.
Yeah, and so another good mental model for audits. So for Titan X, we did 3 audits. For writing the code is not the hardest part. Coming up with the idea, coming up with the tokenomics, making sure it's secure. You think of all the attack factors yourself. Like, if I was an attacker, how would I break my own protocol? And you code against that. The biggest thing in crypto is learning security. And another thing is don't trust the dev. Never trust the dev. Even if it's the best, for example, my dev is absolutely incredible. I fucking love the guy. He's so smart, so good. But this motto of don't trust the dev needs to be followed, because you want your auditors to be independent of the developer. They look at it independently. And the second auditor doesn't talk to the first auditor. They have to look at it independently, because sometimes in crypto, if it's a big protocol, the auditor starts conspiring with each other to attack, to not mention an exploit in the code so they can go attack it themselves. So you want to have independent teams. The dev is independent. You're independently looking at the code. The auditor is independently looking at the code. The other auditor is independently looking at the code. And another good rule for audits is you do the first audit. So you make sure the code is good. You have the UI. You're playing with your own code. You're interacting with your own UI. You can use Remix IDE, deploy it on a local hard hat. Just run npx run hard hat local network. Go to Remix IDE, connect to local hard hat. connected to your UI. You play around with your own protocol first on a local hard hat network. Then you make sure the UI is good, the code is good, you have all the getters that you need for like the statistics on the website. And then you go to the first audit. Once you do the first audit, if there's 3 issues, you fix all 3 of them, they come back, there's no issues. You do the second audit. And you keep doing audits until the audits come back with 0 issues. 0. So if you do 1 audit, you get 3 issues. Then you do a second audit. If you fix the 3 issues, you do a second audit, an independent audit, not the same one. And then after there's 1 issue, I personally don't launch. I do another audit until I get to 0 issues on an independent auditor looking at it. That's when I feel secure. Because once you launch a crypto protocol, it's not like you can pull it back or change the code. It's done forever, for years. And that thing is tied to your name forever. So you want to make sure you don't skimp on audits. You do it correctly. If it takes longer, it takes longer. Make sure the last audit has 0 issues, and then you can feel secure. That's why I've personally done it. But that development cycle is really good. You write the code, local hard hat, you interact with your own UI, then audit, and you keep going until there's 0 issues on the first time for an independent auditor to go through it, and the teams do not talk to each other. That's a very secure way of doing it.
Yeah, that's a great point. Josh, anything you found building that you'd give a little bit of advice to anybody looking to start out? Don't take advice from bad sports.
Yeah, don't take advice from me. No, all jokes aside, it is hard work, super tough. Consumes if you think, crypto generally consumes you, when you build it, consumes every waking hour of your life, every minute. Not a bad thing. If you love it, it's great. Don't jump in if you don't jump in just thinking it's something you can, whip up and just chuck out there. It's you've got to really take it seriously and just live and breathe it. Otherwise it's not worth doing. And yeah, just get the right people, speak to the other builders, just come and DM anyone on this channel, and we'll answer any questions you've got. Really, everyone's super friendly, super approachable. So you're in the best. If you do want to build, I think you're in the best ecosystem to do it, because I don't see this sort of communication between different builders on any other ecosystems. So yeah, just ask questions and come and learn. I'm always open to discussions.
Rudy, anything you want to add to that?
Yeah, I just want to resound, get involved with the right people. You can see us all on streams doing stuff. You can reach out to me, you can reach out to any of these guys at any time if you have any questions. And then the other part is if you have an idea, figure out how to do it. There's a lot of people out there that are idea people, but they're not people that are going to go and execute it. So if you really want to do something and build something, sometimes you just really have to grab the bull by the horns. And this is an Inferno reference and just do it. Just fucking do it. I spent a lot of time, I used to play in a band and stuff. And there was a lot, the people that I worked with were oh, you should do this and you should do that and you should do this and you should do that. And I'm where's the we in this? Let's do it together. So, kind of resounding what you said too, dude, there. I think it's really important. If you have an idea, and you think it's going to work, do it, run it by people that are in the ecosystem that are already doing this stuff, get as much feedback as possible. Feedback is really important, especially from experienced builders. Yeah, all of the above. And just, again, get involved with the right people, because crypto is it's honestly a scary place. A lot of human nature comes out when you get money involved with people and the space. So yeah, that's what I would have.
Yeah, and I'd just like to add on that as well, that even when you go through all these processes, you get your idea, you follow Jake's process there of building, getting your audits done. In my opinion, too, some of the real work only begins whenever you've actually got all that done and the project launches.
Yeah, no kidding.
So, from that point on is when, in a way for me, the real work starts. All that stuff is just, building, creating, get the project launched. Nearly anybody can make that happen. The real hard work is, marketing, engaging, being there every day to answer questions, being, constantly being on the ball. And that's where, for me, again, the real work really does begin. And it's the hardest part for me.
Be prepared to answer a shitload of questions. When?
Yeah, Hack the Titan Pulsican, just reminding everybody there to like and subscribe to the channel. Definitely, please give the channel a like and subscribe. Thank you very much.
Yeah, and the other thing in crypto is one of the most exponential industries you'll ever be part of in your entire life. Like, if there's one place to make money, it's crypto. And the place to make money is usually the most highly competitive as well. Now, one of the interesting things I've noticed about crypto is usually the people that you're competing with are absolute fucking losers. They do the bare minimum. They barely market. They release some kind of subpar protocol. They just leech money off and then they disappear. The competition in crypto is laughable. They're smart enough to get started, but they're not smart enough to win. So if you're a winner, like, learning how to build is not the hardest thing in the world. Learn React, Next.js, make a simple UI using like and design or whatever kind of UI library. Like, building UI is not hard. Finding a developer is not the hardest thing in the world. Going through audits is not the hardest thing in the world. It's once your life, that's what separates winners and losers. And the winners stick around, the losers disappear after a week because shit gets too hard. And seriously, look around at crypto. Like, there's not much competition. In an industry that has so much goddamn money, you can absolutely change your life in a very short period of time in crypto. Like, a very short period of time compared to any other career path, any other industry. Like, crypto is absolutely insane. And the competition is not that crazy. I've seen some people try to compete with Titan X, and they've all failed. Every single one of them. And I keep track of them because it's my fuel. And there's very few winners. Like, people just make a little bit of money and then they disappear because they're comfortable. This industry is ripe for the taking if you're a fucking go-getter. Like, seriously. Most of your competition, you can easily beat them, easily.
Okay. I think I'm going to have to actually start wrapping it up here. Unless you guys, I don't know, if I disappear, do you guys want to keep on talking or do you want to wrap it up?
I think we're good. This was a good stream, man.
Yeah, this
is
awesome.
Hangout.
Yeah, it's nice that we usually try to keep, I don't know, I've been a fan of just, short form content, not going any longer than an hour, but it was nice tonight to have no time constraints and just let the conversation flow. So, and part of that was seeing Eric go on and seeing that, it worked here tonight. The longer you kind of run the stream, the more viewers you kind of get, you kind of get into a flow and get into, I don't know, not totally, but deep and meaningful conversation where we're not having to keep on banging on to the next part of the show. So it was very enjoyable for me just to go with the flow here tonight. Anybody got any sort of nice not any final comments, anything they want to bring up before we start closing off? No. Where's Eric?
We covered a lot, man. Honestly, we covered a shitload.
Titan X ecosystem is amazing. The community is awesome, and our founder Jake is the greatest. Oh fuck! From humble beginnings to fucking being in people's DMs to potential glory of all crypto. Oh, nice.
I'll never do twerking.
Thank you.
Oh, you never know.
I tried, and it doesn't.
We've all tried.
That should never see the light of day. I wouldn't recover.
Yeah, I think the only thing I'd have to say is, like, just to the community, like, stay loud out there, like, keep pushing this thing. Like, the green circles, I want to see more of them. I noticed a couple that are missing green circles. Like, if you're watching this stream right now and you don't have a green circle, get one right now. Repost everything, quote, repost, tag, build on Titan X, some of the projects that you're getting involved with. Just stay loud about it. Like this is not something that's just going to go away. Like, we're just beginning. Like you said, Jake, the chart started on day 280, man. Just like cut off, forget the rest of it. Like, here we are. Like, now is the time. Like, I can feel it in my bones, and I know you guys can too. So let's fucking do this thing.
Nice.
Yeah.
Pep talk at the end.
Yep.
Yeah. High fives all around.
Good stuff.
Brilliant.
Yeah. Well, listen, thanks everybody for tuning in. I hope everybody got something out of the stream tonight. Very great conversation from all the builders here. Thanks to Jake for turning up and engaging with us all as well. So yeah, cheers everyone for tuning in. Hit the like and subscribe before you disappear. Thanks guys for tonight.
I think Dude wanted to say something. I think we cut him off at the end.
No, nothing. I mean, I was just going to point out that the 1 year anniversary is coming up. Like, Titan X will be around for a year. That's plenty of time to see the name, hear about it. I really think that soon after, you got day 369, and then that's when you're going to have all the FOMO happening. I think that'll be a great event. So,
dude, Titan X
cheers.
1 year is my wedding anniversary, so that's not a hard one to forget.
These poor wives. Just make sure you make a shitload of money to keep them happy.
Oh yeah, please.
All right, see you later, everyone.
Take it easy, guys.
Yep.
Cheers.